r/askreddit. What is something other people do that bothers you? 2. When people talk obsessively about themselves. Have you ever been trapped in a convo where the person just non-stop talks about themselves? It's not a conversation. It's glorified campaign boost for the other person. I hate that. Or when in a convo with someone, they talk and the minute you say anything, they completely ignore it and/or find someone else to talk it. Like when they ask you a question and interrupt your answer to tell you what you were going to say. I'm terrified I do that. I feel like I talk a lot in conversations, and then I get too quiet. There's no winning. Same. My horrible social anxiety results in babbling about myself too much. Tell me what to do when I'm already doing it. Similarly, I hate being reminded to do something before I have had a chance to do it. I haven't forgotten. Give me a goddamn chance. Oh god, me too. And then you don't feel like doing it anymore because, even though you were going to do it already, now it feels like you're being made to do it by that person. All because they told you. This was me at the start of quarantine. I was optimistic about jogging every other day to stay fit, but then my parents kept telling me to do some sport every single day, and it soon felt like I was doing it for their sake, so I stubbornly stopped to spite them. 2 months later and I haven't gone on a run until this week because I've gained so much fat I've started to feel bad in my skin. Seriously, they're loving parents, but I can't wait to get away from my helicopter parents someday. This is exactly why I went back to student accommodation, halfway across the country last week. Cut people off while driving and fail to use their turning signal. Not only is it dangerous and increases the chance of an accident, but it also requires very little effort to not do. I hate it when they cut you off then slow down. Or when they run a stop sign to get in front of you and then go slower than you were. Talk behind people's backs, and take out their problems on people who've done nothing wrong. People talk bad about each other all the time at my work. It makes it so uncomfortable to try to be pleasant and social because I feel like I can't trust anyone. If you just never talk bad, it makes things a lot easier. It's hard when people talk bad about others in front of you and ask your opinion, but just try your best to avoid contributing. Makes life so much easier. Assuming they are right without any evidence, reason to believe they are right except them being the ones that said it. And then just not listening to any new evidence, reasons. Edit, and not be willing to change viewpoints. For real. I've heard people say you can't trust the media, but you also can't trust the government, but also the experts are being paid off, and also everyone on social media is biased. I saw some advice once that when you talk to a conspiracy theorist, you should ask them what proof or evidence they would accept to mean they are wrong, hypothetically. The response is usually pretty telling. Disrespect things that don't belong to them. We should be trying to leave things better than we found them, but instead people are so self-absorbed. My roommate did this with my car and car stereo. I let him drive once and forbade him from using my car ever again. I would have let him use it when I wasn't using it if he didn't speed, hit the curb, and blow out one speaker. He's a jackass. Yay, my sister-in-law used to use my car for a bit because she was living with me, and one day my aux cord plug-in wouldn't work. She claimed she didn't do anything to it but was last to use the car. I looked at it and the aux cord was broke off into the plug-in and was stuck and couldn't get it out. She still said it must have been her friend that was with her, as if that made a difference. That's only one thing she broke and never replaced. Some people are just selfish a-holes. I let my brother have the spare key to my car and use it as much as he likes, since it's good for keeping the battery charged, and I mostly drive my work van during the weekdays. I've never had any issues with littering or anything breaking. He's recently left some hand sanitizer in the car and I find that to be a welcome addition. Not washing your hands after using a public bathroom really bugs the shit out of me. Especially in places where we touch a lot of things: casino, hotel, restaurant. I stopped someone in the gym toilets once and told him to wash his hands. He just looked sheepish and came back without making any eye contact. So grim to think he'd be going machine to machine spreading his grim hands around. Not using headphones in public. Are you talking about those that jam their music loudly in public? Parents playing videos for their kids in restaurants is a thing too. I don't want to listen to Bob the Builder while I eat sushi. My ex and his friends would play music from their phones while eating out at restaurants. Notice I said ex. I tell people to turn their music off in my store and not once has anyone ever been a tick about it. Also people who just talk on the phone on speakerphone in public. No one wants to hear anything coming out of your phone. Whether it's music, a video for your kids, a conversation with your friend, whatever. I don't care about it and I don't want to hear it. Or not respecting the fact that others are wearing headphones. For some reason, I am wearing headphones, seems to be a signal for please invade my personal space since I can't hear you approaching me. Take pleasure in making someone else feel embarrassed or ashamed. I hate this with a passion too. I don't care if someone makes a bone-headed move, I want to help them fix it or learn better. It seems like it takes a special kind of insecure sadist to mock people for making a mistake. Or when people ask questions that they genuinely want the answer to, and they're made to feel dumb about it. This always astounds me. How does one ever expect anyone to learn? I feel like people forget they once had to be taught as well. Or enjoy watching someone get yelled at. TBF when the person being yelled at is a piece of shit and is getting yelled at for being a piece of shit, it is kinda enjoyable. Throw garbage on the street. People who shove plastic bottles in bushes. Yes, I spent all of yesterday picking up garbage on the road. Litter. My cousin is litters constantly, in the car she'll throw stuff out the window. If on foot she'll just drop it. She's an Instagram model and she'll make her brother stand up in front of an entire restaurant to take pictures of her. I hate people. Stuff like that makes me see red. I've seen people stand almost right next to a trash bin and still drop their damn trash on the ground. I got in a fight with a dude at a bus stop because of this. Where I live every bus stop has a trash can at the base of the sign. Dude was standing right next to the can and dropped shit on the floor, less than 2 feet from the can. I picked it up, threw it in the can, and asked him how ducking lazy he was. He was so lazy he punched me in the face. Can you follow her around and make an Insta of photos of all her trash and tag her account in each one? I guess she's not aware that literally none of that is actually cool. If people knew the real her in person, they would likely unfollow her. Walking in massive groups on sidewalks and jogging paths. I get that you wanted to walk together as a whole group, but please understand people are behind you trying to get by. Yeah, and they're oblivious to anyone behind them too. Let their kids run wild and disrupt everyone else because you can't be bothered to tell them no. Bully. Making someone feel bad about themselves. It doesn't benefit the bully in any way and I fail to understand why people do it. People usually bully because making someone feel bad makes them feel good. As if they're not worth nothing, since the bully is worth less than them. Usually a result of trauma, abuse, neglect or being bullied themselves, either in the past or at the moment. It's not always the case though. I bullied a lot throughout school. I wasn't insecure or compensating for something, and my parents are great people. I was just a dick that didn't realize being a dick made you a stupid dick. Asking you a yes, no question, then acting offended when you say no. Edit, holy shit, I wasn't expecting to be so relatable. It was awfully confusing that things were yes, no questions as a kid but actually were not. Then later claimed I didn't have to if I didn't want to, but if I complained I didn't want to it was actually mandatory. It made no sense. Not putting shopping carts back. The worst is when they are left smack dab in a parking space. Right. Why make someone else's life harder when you could not? Get aggressive over other people's opinions. Discussion is fine but don't clog my Reddit DMs PLZ. What kind of opinions are people DMing you about? I've made a lot of opinionated comments that got downvoted to hell, but almost no one ever DMs me about them. I once had an anime fan berate me through like 30 consecutive DMs because I said I didn't enjoy anime and that I would rather watch Game of Thrones to fulfill my fantasy needs. He sent me an entire fucking essay on why God is an objectively bad show and that I don't actually dislike anime, but just haven't found the right one yet. I tried to engage him with civil conversation, stating that I've watched almost every show he recommended and they just weren't my cup of tea. He then proceeded to personally insult me and spam my inbox.